Hey, good afternoon, my Stampin' friends. This is Robin with Stamp with Dr. Robin. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in lovely San Diego, California. It's going to be a hot one here today. I don't think it's reached quite yet up to where it's going to be, which is getting close to 90. We've actually had a pretty mild summer so far, so this is going to be kind of a hot day, but that's okay. We're inside stamping, so that's always a good thing. Just trying to make sure, yep, we are here. So say hello if you're signed on at all, and maybe tell me what the weather's like where you are. So a few announcements first. We've got a bunch of new things starting tomorrow. If you're a demonstrator, you get to order from the new mini catalog, the new holiday catalog. I don't think I'm not allowed to shout anything with you. I'm just going to do like a quick, ooh, that's going to be the cover, guys. Don't tell anybody, I'm not sure I'm supposed to show that yet, but you saw it. You didn't see it here though. Okay, but tomorrow what you can see is there are going to be several new kits coming. I think one's a fall swag kind of thing. And I don't remember what the other two are. I think there's 3 this time. But I did want to show you this adorable little kit called, what's it called? Sweet and Spooks. And it's only $21 and it makes 15 of these boxes. And they're actually pretty big. I guess you'd call this like a milk, like, you know those little baby milk cartons you used to get at school? That's what these kind of look like, and you can kind of mix and match the little accessories that go with. My favorite thing in here is there's, the way you close them is with these little teeny, I don't even know if you can see them, paper clips. But my upline gave us some gifts in here, so you can see you can even fit a ribbon, the Stampin' Up ribbons, and that's, I wanted to show you that just to give you an idea of the size, but those are pretty cute. So if you have some, you know, kiddos in your family or giving them to trick-or-treaters, you get 15 of those for $21. I think that's a really good thing, really good price. The other thing that's happening starting tomorrow is they're updating the last chance list, which they do every 2 months, but the big deal this month is they're updating it with old celebration items. So I don't know if you've heard yet, but there's not going to be any celebration this year. But starting in December, instead what they're going to do is every month there's going to be a special item that if you spend $75, you unlock the ability to buy this special item, and that's the only way that you can buy it. And it'll be, they're telling us, really good, better than what a normal celebration would be. So it would be like a normal size stamp set or dies or something like, or paper, but it would be really cheap. It'll be like $5 or something. But like I said, the only way to get it is to spend that $75. So that's going to be new and different starting in December, but no celebration in January. That catalog that I showed you, I don't think I mentioned, demonstrators can order from that, pre-order from that, or if you want to become a demonstrator, did I say that word right? Demonstrator. I'd love to have you on my team because starting tomorrow, you can order from that mini catalog for your joining kit. So for your $125 worth of product, you can order all of it from that catalog if you want to, and then start getting your 20% discount on it. I'm gonna put you down here so I can show you something, because I wanted to be able to show you what we're doing for our Papercraft Collective Design team. Put it up just a little bit so you can see the whole thing. Was that better? Maybe. So what we're doing every month is there's 7 of us, and we are joining together, picking a bundle usually, and designing a special card for these video tutorials. You get 7 video tutorials, and all you have to do to get it is to spend $50 on product with me. Or if you'd like, you can you can buy it for $20, but really it's much better if you want it to just come on and spend a little money with us. And I'll show you, these are my cards that I made with the Impressions of Bloom set. And what I did is basically made my own DSP and cut it out. So this came out of the center of that and made it into 2 cards. So those are my special cards that I made with this. And you can kind of get a little sneak peek of what other people made by looking at that. Get that out of the way. Okay, what else? I've got, hey Roz, hey Linda. Welcome home, Linda, I think. For classes coming up, I've got a class here on August 31st, or you can get it at home making fall cards. And then at the Oasis at the Senior Center near me, September 5th, I'm going to be doing Rosh Hashanah cards. We'll get more of that in a minute. And on October 3rd, some fall cards. And I don't have the link yet for Oasis to be able to sign up for that. So, speaking of Rosh Hashanah cards, that's actually what we're going to make today. And you guys are going to learn a little Hebrew, and you're going to learn a little bit of about the Jewish holiday Rosh Hashanah. So this is a brand new stamp set. Came out, I want to say, was it this month? Yeah, beginning of this month, called Mazel Tov. It's in the online exclusives. Mazel Tov's literal translation means good luck, we say, and then there is a Mazel Tov in here. And we actually say Mazel Tov when something great is happening. We almost use it like congratulations in Hebrew. And this is basically a set that was made with those of us who are Jewish demonstrators help. They asked our help with this from Stampin' Up. And we haven't had a set like this in a long, long time. I want to say my first stamp set I ever got from Stampin' Up, which was like 25 years ago, had some of these sayings in it, and we haven't had one since. So it's very exciting to those of us who want to send cards to our Jewish friends that we have this. And we've got the apples and honey, which is something that we eat on Rosh Hashanah, our Jewish New Year, just to signify the sweetness of the coming year. We've got some wine glasses. We've got a Torah scroll. We've got Happy Passover. We've got Lishana Tova, which means to a sweet year, to a good year. That's what we say to each other on our Jewish New Year. So that starts the night of September 22nd, which is why we're talking about it now, because it is a time where Jewish people do tend to send cards. I would say sending cards for Rosh Hashanah is probably even more common than sending them for Hanukkah. And then, I don't know, I'm probably the only Jewish person who sends Passover cards, because it, comes usually around the time of Easter. And so they've got that in there. They've got a Star of David. They've got Bar and Bat Mitzvah separately. That's a special ceremony, kind of a coming of age ceremony when a Jewish child is 13, 12 in some Jewish sects, and gets to read from the Torah, the 5 books of Moses, for the first time. Chag Sameach, which is basically like a happy holiday, and we talked about Mazel Tov already. So we are going to make this New Year's card, and it says Lishana Tova. Now, sometimes people have an H on Lishana, and sometimes they won't have an H on Tova. We went back and forth and round and round and round on this and settled on this. Then you see I've got the apples and honey, and I made this into a bookbinding card. So let's make this card. I think, let me show you. Does anybody know what this is? This background here? This is not a stamp, okay? This is Hey, Lori. You send cards on Passover, Roz? You're the only other person I know who does. I don't think anyone's ever sent me a Passover card. I do send them, but I don't think anyone's ever sent me one. So this paper back here is, I did not stamp this. This is an embossed resist kind of paper, and I don't know that it's going to show up very well. Can you see this at all? This is called Irresistible Designs. It's in the annual catalog, and you get 2 of each of 3 different designs. The one we're going to use today with the little leaves on it. This one has flowers, and this one has kind of a more geometric pattern. And the cool thing about it is it's already embossed. The paper is already embossed, and then you can leave it white, but it's more interesting to color it like we're going to do today. So I guess first we can just put our little card together. Let's get everything we need here. So the card starts with a 4 1/4 by 11 piece of cardstock, and this is lemon lime twist, and we got some granny apple green going on here too. And it is scored at 5 1/2, and then it's scored again at 6 3/4 because it's going to make that bookbinding fold. Whoops, this did not fold perfectly here. And then this is going to kind of go backwards like that. Okay, got that. And then let's get our paper. We'll just put it all out here. See, it's hard to tell. This is the paper that we're going to be using. This is they're both 4 by 4. This is the paper for the inside piece, just a piece of white. So I know you can't see this very well, but it will become apparent in a minute. And so I'm using both lemon lime twist and granny apple green here. So I'm going to start with the lemon lime twist. I think, let me get some scratch paper underneath here because I think I'm about to make a mess here. What we got for scratch paper? And I don't want to mess up my whole thing here. There we go. All right, that's better. Am I in the middle here? So we got some lemon lime twist, tap it off a little bit, and then come in from the sides. And what I'm trying to do is get kind of a darker area down here and then move it into lighter. And then these edges I will do with the granny apple green. But can you see how I'm kind of making a gradient here? I guess it's probably better doing it this way because I am going to put the darker one on the bottom and the lighter one on top. And then we've got some granny apple. I thought I had a second. Yep, I do. Again, stamp off a little bit. And again, I'm going to make it darker down here. And then the gradient going up. The whole thing is a bit of a gradient because granny apple is kind of a gradient of the lemon lime twist in my mind, or vice versa. You can see how close they are when you put it on lighter. Isn't that cool? So this is the Irresistible Designs paper. I think it's, it doesn't show up well at all in the annual catalog. It just looks like, what is this white paper? But I think it's really pretty. And then what you want to have is either a Kleenex or a paper towel. And what you're doing when you wipe it like this, when you're done, is you're getting the ink off of the resisted part. I think I could use a little bit over here. So it just makes that white just a little bit brighter. You can see how it's picking up some. I was going to show you, let me take the other two designs just so you can kind of see what they look like, since you can't really see that? That's that one. And then the other one, like I said, is kind of flowery. So now you can see what the other two designs look like, is you've got a little bit of ink on them. Suddenly they're something beautiful. All right, so let's get that out of the way. Any of you have that paper yet? I'm betting no. I'm betting that's something that people don't have. So this is, like I said, a 4x4 piece. And then we're going to put it on a, I think this is, was this 4x4? No. Yeah, this was 4x4, and this was like 4 1/8 of the Granny Apple. So just to give it a little bit more presence, just to give it a little bit of a border here. And especially when these borders are so small like that, that's what I like about having the glue, is it just gives you a chance to move that a little bit. And then that we can put on the front. Actually, before we do that, let's glue this down. So this, I like to use tear and tape when I'm doing a bookbinding card. Whoops, that's the end of that one. Let's get it up to the other one. Because I've seen them sometimes come apart if you don't use something really strong. So if you have Seal Plus, you can use that. Or I like the tear and tape. And sometimes too, you'll put a ribbon around this, and then the tear and tape will really help hold that in. And then you want to burnish that down pretty good. And it still wants to come up. Let's try it at the other end. To me, this is the hardest part about tear and tape, is getting that little edge to start and lift up. And leave your tear and tape there. There we go. There's one. And then if you burnish it really well, that usually helps. There's the other one. All right, and then we'll just fold that over. Now we have our bookbinding. And we have our first piece to go on it. The front there. And of course, you can use this card for anything that you would want to use it for, because it's so pretty. And now I am looking for my pressed flowers. Embossing folder. Which I don't know what I did with, so give me a second here, because I need it for that piece. It's gonna go right over here. And of course now, it is here. All right, so we got our pressed flowers embossing folder that has, I'm going to put this here so you can see what the whole thing is. See all these little flowers going across the bottom here. I kind of decided I wanted one that wasn't going to come totally the whole thing up. So maybe like that. So let's get our machine up here. Now this is not a 3D embossing folder. So with the non-3D ones, all you do is take out that little number 2, but you still have both of the clear plates. And I know people get confused about what sandwich to use, and I just remind people, if you look on the base plate, it will tell you what sandwich to use, and that's how you don't get confused. I personally, when I get my embossing folders, if it's a 3D one, you know, I label all of them, and if it's a 3D one, I will label that on there 3D, and that way I don't get confused. So this is just a little 1-inch, where's my front, piece by 4 inches. Oh, I think it's too big. Yep, I made it too big. So let's cut it down just a smidgen because it's only supposed to be 4 inches. And it looks like I made it 4 1/8. Because it's going to go on this 4 1/8 piece of granny apple there. All right. So we got little teeny margins today. All right, so we got that. Now the next thing we need to do is make our apples. So I got just a little square of white, and I'm going to use some basic gray here. And I'm going to use that to stamp my apple. I think we'll just do all our stamping right now. I like to use basic gray when I'm using kind of lighter or softer colors. And then we're also going to use, this is our sentiment piece, and that comes from our Nested Essentials die pack. You know, whenever we have nested anything, I love to buy it because I love that you can layer them, although I didn't do that today. And whenever they label anything essentials, you want it. So Nested Essentials is what that is. And we're going to take our little Shana Tova. Like I said, I'm just going to do all the stamping now. And this is, I believe, is it the second biggest? Yeah, the second biggest of these rectangles. And we're going to stamp this as far down as we can so we have room for our apples and honey. And then one more thing we're going to do is on that 4x4 piece. You notice there's no real good inside. There are no sentiments at all really for inside on here, unless you were going to put that other one on the inside. So I grabbed my Unbounded Love, and I'm just going to stamp peace on the inside because guess what? We could all use a little bit of peace, and especially at this time of the year. For Jews anyway, this is one of those things that we think about. So I just thought that would be kind of pretty to put on the inside. All right, let's color our apples and honey here. And what I decided to use to color was, since I hadn't used them in a long time, was our watercolor pencils. And we have two different, I think they call this 1 and 2, yeah, different watercolor pencils. And I grabbed from both of them. So we got a bunch of different colors here. So what I decided to do is use a little, I think this is a little crushed curry. Whoops, see, I sharpened it. Don't sharpen your watercolor pencils too much, okay? They actually work better when they're kind of duller, honestly. And there's different ways that you can use them. You can obviously just color with them and leave them colored, but I want to show you a couple other things that you can do. So I used that crushed curry, and this one is Daffodil Delight for our honey. And like I said, that's so that we have a nice sweet year. And this is Early Espresso. I'm going to use that for the, I don't know, what do you call this little thing that you pick up honey with? I'm sure it has a name. And I'm going to color this. You know, you can get variations in colors with your pencils by how hard you're pressing down on them. So I'm doing this a lot lighter on the honey taker outer part, and I did it darker. I'm going to go back and even make it darker on the stick. And then I'm also going to just put it in the seeds too. Maybe even up here for the stem. And then I grabbed two colors of green. I got Granny Apple and Garden Green. Mostly I'm doing the Granny Apple for the apple part. And you see, if you go over it a couple times, it does get darker. Hey Beth, good to see you. See, Roz likes that nested essentials too. I think some of these dyes get lost. I'm going to put just a little bit of that Granny Apple in here, but mostly I'm coloring this with my Garden Green pencil. And put a little bit more Granny Apple in there. Probably could put a little garden down as a shader, maybe on the edges. All right, now what I wanted to show you is you can leave it like that, but sometimes I don't like seeing how you can see all the lines. So if you take your blender pen, I don't know if a lot of you have this, but blender pens are amazing. You can use it to pick up ink and color anything you want. So you can just put ink on a block, or even take it straight from the ink pad and use this to color. So if you don't have a blend in a certain color, and some of our blends don't even come, you know, in all the colors, but you can also use it with your watercolor pencils, and see how that kind of just smooths it out. See if you can see the difference between what that looks like versus what the yellow looks like. And I'm going to smooth that out too. And then what you want to do in between colors and when you're done is just go like this. See how it's coming off green at first and then clear, and then you've got all the green off of there, and you can go on to another color. So I still had a little green on there, it looks like. Just kind of blend. And this also lets me blend. Remember, I used two different colors of yellow on here. Just blend that together. And again, then I'm going like this till it runs clear, get the yellow off of there. And then I'm just going to go blend that brown so I don't have to see those lines. Guess probably that didn't need it. But blender pen, if you don't have a blender pen, you need one. You can color anything with it. And the other thing you can also do is use your Wink of Stella. I didn't want to today on this one, but you can use your Wink of Stella to blend that in too. And that will allow you to have it sparkle. So there are no dyes with this set. but this is not going to be a hard thing to cut out. Remember, use the closer part up here that's closer to the handle for cutting, and move your paper, not the scissors. So you can see how the scissors kind of stay in the same plane there, but the paper's moving a little bit. So you guys can impress your Jewish friends by wishing them Lashana Tova on September evening of the 22nd after the sun goes down. All the Jewish holidays start in the evening, or the 23rd, or any time in the week or so after that. They would be quite impressed if you wish them Lashana Tova, or if you sent them a card. So that didn't take too long to do that whole thing. All right, so let's finish putting this card together. Where did my card go? Put it too far out of the way. You know, this is a very small space, but it's amazing how things go away from it. Okay, so let's start with putting this card sentiment on. And one more on the side there. I'm going to put it right in the middle. Pray that it's straight. And then I'm going to get some more dimensionals for our apples and honey. And it can be any color apples. You guys have a favorite? Right now my favorite are Pink Lady apples and Honey Crisp. Those are my two favorite right now. And let's put our inside in. Didn't really have time to look for another sentiment thing, but another, you know, any sentiment that says, you know, something about having a good year or being with friends or peace. We're doing peace today. And then the last thing I want to do is get some of these beautiful, what are these called? Shades of green hexagons. And these go with the turtles, okay? But the cool thing is they may go with the turtles, but they certainly have a lot of other uses, and especially because there's so many different colors in here, and there's two different sizes. So I'm using these ones that I think are Granny Apple. I'm not even sure that that's what they are, but they're either that or Lemon Lime Twist. They got some that I think are Soft Sea Foam. I think they say these are Lost Lagoon and Pretty Peacock, but I'm not even 100% sure on that one. So here we go. We've got, I guess they're the same. Our first Happy New Year card for the Jewish New Year that's coming up, and hopefully you guys can impress your friends with that. Reminder just that tomorrow starts new online exclusives, new last chance list, which is going to have old celebration items on it. and pre-order for the mini catalog for us demonstrators. And that I've got an Oasis class teaching some of these Rosh Hashanah cards on September 5th. And also we talked about our Paper Calf collective design team. If you buy $50 worth of any product from me, you will get to be able to download all these videos for these beautiful Impressions of Bloom class. And if you don't have Impressions of Bloom, really, the paper is gorgeous. These dies that make all these flowers are so much fun. The stamps that I used on mine, etc. So, thank you, Roz. And a big Lashana Tova to any coming up for any of my Jewish friends. All right, let me put you just like that so I can say a quick goodbye. And I will not be here next Monday because this end of this week is my grandson's first birthday. So we're going to be celebrating with him. So I will see you in 2 weeks. So take care, everybody. Bye-bye.